Hi Button Farm fans, this is Nancy Wethington and I'm here to do some demos on how I decorated my next book for Button Farm. It's a Briefcase album. It's not quite finished yet, but I'll show you the outside of this. It's a lay flat binding. And when you open it up, it will, and like I said, I haven't finished it yet. When you open it up, the binding itself lays perfectly flat. You will end up attaching, and I'll explain all this again in a minute, but you will end up attaching this type of folio, and we're going to add flips and flops. That'll be on this side. And then this folio will be on this side, and it'll be all decorated beautifully with Stamperia Art of Traveling papers. So let's get busy, and the first thing we're going to work with is the Tim Holtz Coordinations. It's sand it, tear it, emboss it. I love this paper. It's got a texture to it. I'm hoping you can see this. It reminds me of a leather, and so I wanted to use this for the outside covers and the spine. So you actually have 2.5 pieces. You have two 12 by 12s and one 6 by 12. The 12 by 12s are going to be used to decorate the outside front and the outside back covers. And the 6 by 12 is going to cover the spine itself. So let's get busy. I am not writing directions for this. Normally I do, but I've gotten so many comments about I wish you would demo that I decided to do that. And we're going to start by placing the correct side of the paper down. Don't worry about the branding strip. That's not even going to show. And we're going to place our cover on top of the back side of the cardstock. Now what I do, I don't measure, I eyeball. If you want to measure, go ahead and measure, but it's not something I normally do. What I do is draw a pencil line around the outside frame of the cover. Just to give me an idea, if I pick this up, I know where I want to put it down again. Then we're going to take a stylus, and a stylus is just a tool, normally two-sided. It depends on the brand you buy. This happens to be Tonic, and I'm taking a medium size end, little round ball on the end, and I'm going to go around the outside on the paper to stretch the paper, but along the edge of the cover. And with the handle this way, on this side, we are actually covering the outside back of the book first. And I'm going to go around that twice. And I'm actually not doing anything with the handle yet, anyway. Okay, once I have that done, I'm going to manipulate my paper by just bending it. On every single side I just went over. Very close to the edge. Get as close as you can to the edge. All the way around. Nice firm press. And then we're going to turn this whole thing over, and we're going to do the same thing with the stylus. Go all around the edge. By this time you'll be able to see where you're going. And we're just going to outline that again to stretch the paper. Stretching it all the way around. Please use a stylus that's long enough so you are not punching through the paper. It's very important. We don't want to tear the paper, we just want to stretch it. So if you have a stylus that's very fine, it's not the one to use. Okay, now we're going to turn this whole thing back over again. And this time we're going to glue. I'm putting the glue on the chipboard, and I'm being very generous with my glue. I use wet glue. Designer Dries Clear. I have been using this glue for years. I will tell you girls, I used to use tape. The double-sided tape, and my poor little books, my older books, are falling apart. I did a Paris book, and I put so much work into that book, and it just makes me sick. I have to redo the whole thing. So ever since I've been using this glue, I haven't had that issue. It does not wrinkle paper. And if you get glue out of line, I wipe up what I can. I want to be neat about it. But at the same time, I'm going right back and following my pencil lines. Burnish. At the same time, it doesn't dry shining. And a lot of the glues that say they'll dry clear will dry shining. I don't like that. Because then you can still see where the glue was, because there's a sheen to it. Okay, so now we're going to wrap the album. The first thing I'm going to do is wrap the handle, the inside of the handle. And I'm going to do that by using a craft knife and a ruler. And I'm going to put my ruler as close to the center as I can. I'm going long ways on this, and I'm going to cut a line from one end to the other down the middle. Okay? So here's what I just did. I just split that. All right, then I'm going to wrap the handle, but in order to do that, I'm cutting little triangles. Now, I'm using a ruler. You don't have to. If you're really good about this, you can do it yourself. But I want little triangles to wrap. And you'll see why in a minute. There's no rhyme or reason to these triangles. Whatever works, works. And I know you want to measure and do all that kind of stuff, but you really don't have to. Okay, so see how I have these cut? Some of them didn't cut through. I'll need to do the... Oh, my blade. Oh, shoot. Let me grab another one. The whole thing is falling apart. Okay, on to the big thing. Here we go. So I'm just going to go over these lines again. cut them through. I may have to make more lines. You might have to make more lines. I'll show you what we're doing in a minute. Let me get through these. Okay. In order to make a nice, neat curve, we want to wrap. Believe me, I tried doing this without wrapping. Not a good idea. Wrap. Okay, now you're going to need to have a scissors handy, and we're going to wrap and trim. So, we're going to take one of these, and I can already see how that's not quite cut all the way to the end. I'm going to need to cut that all the way, and probably even make another cut right here. All right, now let's try this. There we go. We're going to bend these back. See? And I'm going to glue those. Right up to the end. There we go. Next one, I'm going to take my finger, put it underneath, bend. Now, this one, if you can see, is almost going over the side of the book. So I'm just going to take a scissors and just chop off that little end, and then I can glue that down. So we're wrapping. All right, next one. Again, it's going to go over the end. So I'm just going to trim it off. See, now it's not going over the edge of my book. I don't want it to go over the edge, the outside edge. Okay, next one. This will probably go over too, but that's okay. We'll trim. Oh no, this one fits. Okay, we're good. Glue. Put your glue right up against that edge of the book. Fold over. Okay, this one definitely. Oh no, no, it is a little bit. I need to cut this corner off. A little bit more. None of this is going to show once we get that inside done. Okay. Right up against the edge and the paper. Fold. You can burnish those, make sure they're down really well. I'm going to keep going all around. Oh, this one might need another little cut. I know that because when I bend it, I have too much excess paper right in this area. So I'm just going to make another little slit. So I don't have to bend that quite as much. Now I can bend. Okay, that's good. But then, look, I've got all this hangover, so I'm just going to trim it down so that it stays within the back of the book, and now I can glue. Okay, next one. Okay, we're okay there. Next one. Yep, I think I'm pretty good there. It's kind of like you're folding a starburst almost. I've done this once before. You've seen me work a frame like this for a cover of a book I did for Button Farm. That's pretty long. Trim that. And I didn't tell you this yet, but I did not design this book. I am only decorating the book. The book itself was created for Button Farm by Gina, my friend Gina, who I've been working with for years. She owns GSL Cuts, and she does a lot of my books for me, and she has a terrific store online. Super talented. You know, she's one of those people that not only is good at decorating, but she has this mind that can figure out how to do almost anything. And I don't. And so I go to her and say, okay, I want to do this, but I don't know how to accomplish it. And she tells me, whoop, get down there. Let's burnish that. Okay, I have 2 more pieces left. Again, it doesn't matter how many pieces you have. Not quite sticking correctly. It just depends on what you needed to get around this curvy edge. None of this will show. None of this. One last piece for me, but take your time. If you cut more, I get it. We have a whole group that gets together on a regular basis. And Gina shows us a lot of tricks. She's very talented. Okay, so this is how your back might look. But look how nice and neat this is on the front. It's just perfect. There we go. So now what we're going to do is wrap the rest of the book. And I'm going to start with trimming the corners. We don't need all this bulk in the corners. So I'm going to trim it. And I just lost my tool. I think it fell behind my counter. Great. Okay, so if you use a ruler, we're going to use a pencil and a ruler, I should say, and you want to leave a teeny bit of room between the corner and where we're cutting, just a little bit. That's so we can wrap that corner, and if it's 1/8 of an inch, it's a lot. And I'm drawing across, and I'm leaving just a teeny little bit right here. And we're going to do the same with each of these edges. Okay, then we're going to cut that off to take out the bulk. You don't want to keep overlapping your paper. It'll be too heavy and cumbersome. And then the next thing you want to do is, again, fold this edge. Just going to do it one more time like that. Take your glue, put a tiny bit of glue in that 1/8 inch right there in the corners. Then you're going to pinch those corners in. And we'll do more of this in a minute once we get the other glue on. Pinch it in. And then add glue along on the paper, but along the edge of the chipboard. And then all over your paper that we're going to fold up to wrap the book. I told you I was generous with my glue. I don't want these books falling apart. It's a lot of work to have a book fall apart. Okay, then we're going to burnish. And we're going to go to the top. Now the top, we don't want to cover through the handle. We want the handle to work. So I'm going to fold, and I'm going to turn this over to see about how much I need to cut off. I do want to cover the inside portion of this, but I don't want to cover anything on the open oval. So let's see, I would need to cut approximately 1 inch off. And if I line my ruler up, measure about 1 inch. Yeah, let's do it this way. Okay, I'm going to cut along this edge. I might have to trim more. I'm experimenting, so just bear with me a minute. That was almost 1 inch, not quite 1 inch. And look, when I fold it over, it's fine. So as long as it covers that without going into the oval, we're good. And then I'm going to trim this corner, and I'm going to trim this corner. I'm going to do another cut because I don't want all that bulk. Whenever you're doing a weird size like this, and I'll show you what I mean here. Okay, if I fold this over, I'm going to have 2 layers here, and I'm going to have 2 layers here, and I don't want that. That's too much. So we're going to trim that out by doing this. So if I fold my paper, let me draw this line. This is my fold line. Okay, when I folded this way and pressed, okay, and this way and pressed, I get a fold line here and a fold line here. That's what has to come out. So I'm going to cut on that fold line. But remember my little 1/8 inch at this corner. I need that, so keep that. You would only do this for an odd shape like we're doing now. If you have a square album or a 6x8 album that you're doing and it's a traditional book cover, you don't need to do all these little cuts. You only need to do this if you have a strange cover like this one. Okay, so I'm going to take that bulk out, leave 1/8 of an inch at the corner. Okay. And now we can glue. So I'm going to, oh, I need another little 1/8 of an inch here at that corner. And at this corner. Okay. Again, you don't have to measure, you just need to fold and cut on those folds. So this is going down along the chipboard with your glue. Fold and burnish. Okay, we're going to do on this side, along the chipboard, but on the paper. Fold and burnish across the top, along the chipboard and the paper. Then we're going to do the sides. But I want to show you that top is nice and neat now. And then we will cut a piece that will fit on this inside back cover to make it look really pretty. So we'll glue the sides. That's the last part. Again, I'm pretty generous with my glue. And what I do, they don't sell this glue in the winter. It's not good to have this glue in freezing temperatures. So I buy a large bottle, a refill bottle. It's pretty tall. I'll grab mine before we leave and show you. And then I just refill these smaller bottles. So when summer comes, that's when you order your refill bottle. And then I usually have enough that lasts me pretty much the entire year. And then I do it again the next year. It's very economical to do it like that. Okay, and then I wanted to show you how nice these corners turn out when you leave that 1/8 inch edge. They're so nice. Okay, so that's the outside back. Now you have to do the outside front cover. And you're going to do exactly the same thing with your other piece of 12 by 12. And once you have this done, then we'll move on to the spine. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have the outside back cover covered in the pretty paper. I have the front outside cover done in pretty paper. And now we're ready for the spine. So let me just move some of these things over so you can see better. And I'm using my 6 by 12 paper for this, and I'm going to use a ruler and a pencil again, and I'm going to draw lines around and all the way down my paper. And I'm on the back side of the pretty paper. Yeah, now you know where I draw lines. Okay. So we are going to cover the outside of the spine. So I've drawn a line all the way up and down. That's my pretty paper. I'm not worried about that branding strip. I'm centering this as much as I can, and I'm drawing a line across. Now we want to fold this area, this little rectangle, and this little rectangle up to the inside of the spine, from the top down and the bottom up. But in order to do that, we have to make a couple of cuts. So the first cut we're going to make is on those vertical lines up to the edge of where I mark the chipboard. And then from there, we are taking out just a slight rectangle sliver. I mean, look, a sliver. We can always cut more, but if we cut too much, it won't be too good. Just a sliver. And we're going to do that on the bottom as well as the top. Slivers. Okay, and we're going to put our chipboard down, and we're going to fold this over. I'm not using glue yet. Fold this over, and I want to make sure when I fold this over, I want to cover the top from side to side, but I don't want the paper to go over the end of the chipboard here. So when I folded this, I noticed I didn't quite have enough cut. So I'm just going to cut out a tiny bit more. And then I'm going to try it on the other end as well. Same thing, I need a little bit more off this side. Just a slight. Okay, that should do it. Now, we're going to glue the bottom of the spine and glue this to the back side of our paper. Like so. Burnish. And now, since that's down, I'm going to take my stylus again and I'm going to stretch my paper. And I'm going to do it on the other side. Remember, you're not going through the paper, you're only stretching the paper. So make sure your stylus is large enough. Okay, now I'm going to glue these down. And we're gluing the same way we've been gluing. That glue along the the edge of the chipboard. Generous with the glue. Burnish. And on the other end. burnish. And just so you can see, a teeny bit of the chipboard is showing on each of these sides, but not very much at all. Okay, so here's how we put the cover, the lay flat binding. Lay flat binding, let me push this up so you can see this a little better. The lay flat binding is going to go perpendicular to the spine, and you want to make sure the top is even, top and bottom are even with the spine. And normally, if I was using double-sided cardstock, same color on each, I would not do this next step. Let's say you're using black cardstock. This would be black, this would be black, whatever. But because this is not a double-sided cardstock, I have to have some way of covering this piece up so it doesn't just glare at you when you open the inside of the book. So for that, I am folding this down, okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. I'm going to fold it up, and I'm going to glue those pieces down. So this is a piece from the spine. I'm not cutting it off. Normally, if it was double-sided and the same on both sides, I would cut that off. But because I don't want that yellow underside to show, I'm gluing it. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to fold it, glue it down, okay, and you want to make sure it's even with the top. You want your tops and bottoms even. Fold, glue, okay. Now these wings on the side of the spine, get a nice fold on there, are what's going to attach to the inside front and back cover, like so. So we're going to fold this back. We're going to put glue here. Oh, I forgot one tiny little thing. Now I'll show you in a minute. Okay, I want to just take a little snippet off of here. Oh, I should have done this before. This is not a good idea, Nancy. Just a little bit. And the same here. See, just a little bit of an angle. Line the back cover to the spine. Make sure the top and bottom is even. And press that down. Let's burnish. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on the front. I don't know why I start with the back, but I did. We're just going to take a little snippet off of here. And a little tiny snippet off of here. This is all I'm taking off. Just that. You don't need much at all. Just a little bit so it lays nicely. Okay, now we're going to do this. Get rid of that snippet. Line it up. Make sure the covers are even with the spine. Glue. And yes, you're gluing this on the inside. Get as close as possible to the spine. Lay it flat. Burnish. And we need a little bit of glue here, it looks like. Get over there. There we go. And there is your lay flat binding. Isn't that nice looking? I love this binding. It's my fave. Okay, I'm going to let this glue dry. And then we'll come back and we'll cover this. Thanks for watching. Okay, I wanted to show you how I prep the inside folios that we're going to be decorating and adding flips and flops and all kinds of good stuff to. So you have two folios. You have one that's going to go on the left side and one that's going to go on the right side. Obviously, I haven't done this yet. That's okay. But I just wanted to show you how you can prep these. So I'm going to start by showing you this ginormous marker. It's a Sharpie, and it's called a Magnum. I use a king size. My friends have these ginormous Magnum things. I don't even know if I can get this open. No, I can't. That's the tip on mine. The Magnum obviously is even bigger. And I go around all of the edges in my book and mark with a black Sharpie. Just makes life easier. And then I use a washi type tape, which is this. It's very thin. It's not see-through though. And I don't know where I got this. I think I had to send away for it, and I don't remember. If I can figure it out, I'll list it below. But you can also get black washi tape. I've seen it on Amazon. You can get it at tape similar to this at Walmart, whatever. But it's very thin, and I like to, I haven't done this one yet. I wanted to show you how. I like to reinforce my seams of my book. So I'm going to do that with this one so you can see how I do that. And I start by taking a piece that's longer than the book is tall. Scissors. And I have two different depths of spine on these. This one is pretty skinny. So this one piece of tape will cover that whole thing, which is fine. I'm going to lay that down, press it in, turn it over, and cover. Okay, now before I do the opposite side, I'm going to bend this, make sure it's nice and flat, and then I'll take another piece of this and lay it flat against the opposite side, and just cut it off at the end. You don't have to do this, but I really like doing this because then I know my thin chip won't tear or give me any issues. Now with the larger spine, this is going to get covered with paper anyway, so decorative paper. With the larger spine, I do the same thing, but I do it 2 times. Because the spine is too big, I'm going to cover it with paper like I said. So this will all be covered with paper in the center. I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to tape. Tape. I'll tell you what, if I do this with junk journals, I will use decorative washi tape because it looks so cute on the spines. Okay, press it down. Fold it to make sure it's all nice and even. Look how nice that reinforcement is then. Now I'm going to go back on the inside and cover it from top to bottom. Cut it off even with the end. Sorry, that was out of camera. I have to see. Okay, and then the next side, top to bottom. Okay, fold. Put your finger in there and slide it through. It's nice and even. Okay, and now it's all beautifully reinforced. Okay, so now we're ready to decorate this. Okay, that's it. Now you're ready. We're going to decorate. Yay! See you later. And you can turn to your written directions at this point and follow along with the written directions. Thank you. Bye.